That was fun. Now I guess we are gonna wait for the track to end at 4:20. All right, here we go.
And welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on in to Apollo Racing Club. I'm Adam AV500. Joining me, as always, across the pond is James Williamson. James, how are you doing here on this beautiful evening here in the United States?
I'm having a great time. Thank you, Adam. Welcome to everyone who's joining us tonight. And, well, let's talk about what we're all here for, and that's can Brody Gardner seal up the championship?
Yes, tonight, round 11 here of the Apollo Racing Club IndyCar iRacing League. We're at Watkins, Glen tonight, a 5.4 kilometer long track. The temperature outside, track temperature 44 degrees Celsius with an air temperature of 29 degrees Celsius. So it's going to be a nice little, it's going to be pretty toasty down there on track. Taking a look at the standings, we have a championship battle still on our hands. We have Colin Kinzer and Brody Garner tonight. Brody Garner can wrap it up if he finishes 5th or higher. So if you're Colin Kinzer right now, you are betting on yourself to maybe win this race as he goes into the wall in practice. And hope to God that Brody Gardner is finishing below 5th and lower. So that is what we are expecting here tonight. I think tonight, Colin Kinzer, he's definitely going to have to race, but he's going to have to let the cards fall where they fall.
Yeah, he's sort of in a situation where he's just got to go for it, get the win, and he can't really do much else. He just needs to maximize his points tonight and hope Brody has an accident. But unfortunately, Brody's been very consistent all season, so well, it feels inevitable that he's going to finish it up tonight as we're heading into the qualifying session. I suppose that's the first thing we need to discuss tonight. Watkins Glen track position is everything, so maybe after qualifying we'll see a different scenario where maybe Brody has a bad one and starts in the pack, and then who knows what kind of trouble could happen for him. But either way, Colin just needs to get pole here and really just race his heart out. He won here last year, so he's got the history on his side when it comes to Watkins Glen.
Colin Kinzer has been very good on the road courses. He had the one mistake where he got taken out in Long Beach, able to drive up to a to a 4th place, had a 5th place next week at Gateway. And then Road America and Pocono, not his greatest tracks, placed 21st and 17th. Those will probably be his 2 dropped races unless he has these next 2 races are bad. And then he finished 2nd place in Spa, 7th in Indy, 4th in Belle Isle, 8th in Michigan, won Laguna Seca, and got onto the podium last week at Homestead, Miami. We're following along here with Keegan Scott as he is rounding the track here, getting ready to go on a hot lap here. Let's go ahead. Let's ride on board with him down this front straight, down this very beautiful track in New York State. And here we go down into turn number 1. Got to keep it steady on the brakes, and steady on the throttle. If you get way too much on that curb, you will spin and go into the right-hand wall there. And here we go up through the hill on the S's. Of course, no DRS. You'll see a DRS marker there, but no DRS here. But we'll see some guys probably use their push to pass down into the bus stop chicane. Again, got to get on the brakes just a little bit and get the car turned. Get right back on the throttle. Keegan Scott navigating through that perfectly. Now through the boot. Now going into the boot, I will say. Keeping the grip nice and easy. Nicely done. James, what do you think so far of Keegan's lap?
It's been a solid start to this lap. He's keeping the car in all the right places, and it just needs a banker. Another thing to note with the tyres, the red tyres really don't do 2 laps here, so you need to get your lap in on the first one, because the second lap speed is generally 2 or 3 tenths slower. But Keegan will be pretty happy with this lap so far. He's not made any mistakes. He's got a nice banker hopefully in the bag. We've got Woody Mayan who's set a purple sector in the 3rd one, but at the moment you just want a lap on the board so you're not under pressure from the off to get something.
Well, here we go.
A bit of a wobble there by Keegan at the final turn, but it'll be setting across the line now with a 128.3. That's a very good lap. I think it'll be mid to low 127s by the end of this session. You see Andrew already 27.9.
Serwick already taking the fastest lap time here so far with a 127.9. John Krauser, 3rd fastest with a 128.387. Winnie Mahan in that 4th slot with a 128.715. Now, Frankie Franchica making himself known tonight because he's had some very good races, just unfortunately not the results he was been wanting. And Matt Carroll comes across the line with a 129.7. Craig Bray looking at trying to maybe pick up some points, and we should also notate that David McCourt has decided to join us tonight. David McCourt, a longtime moderator of the iRacing IndyCar League, had to take a break this season. Good to see him back out there. He is a road course maniac.
So I suppose it's a wild card tonight in terms of the win, and we'll see how he does. But yeah, it's it's a lot of potential winners here tonight, and like I said, Colin really needs to do what he can to get a good good starting position to help his dwindling cause in the championship battle.
So let's take a look at the order right now. Andrew Surwick on the pole with Frankie Franchica in second, David McCourt third, Peyton Schofield in fourth, Keegan Scott fifth, Alex Rose in seventh, Brandon J. Welch in ninth, and Woody Mahan in ninth. Brandon Welch is in eighth. And then in that 10th slot, it's going to be Shady Ahmad. So these guys are starting to really put some laps together. We're riding along here with RJ Conley in the number 5, as he's now coming down to the hill into the boot part of Watkins Glen. And then we'll head back to the start-finish line. Something to point out is that there's this track has a lot of bit of elevation changes, so that's definitely going to play a part in this race, because the grip levels are changing throughout this track, and I'll explain that here in a moment. This is a perfect example. Turn 8 at the heel, it is very low grip, and then up in the turn 9, not a whole lot of grip, and it's easy to get out of shape. He does a nice job, doesn't get on the throttle too early. Now he does, and now here he comes, going to wrap up this lap. Of course, you just lift a little bit and get your car turned, and then you're back on the throttle through turn 10, now through turn 11. Same exact way, just get off the throttle, maybe brake a little bit to get the car turned, as RJ Conley wraps up his lap here and does not count. He went off track somewhere, so he will have to go again. Let's go ahead. Let's get our qualifying map out here. Doesn't look like anybody's really putting out any purple sectors just yet. We have Andrew Surwick out there. Let's ride on board with him. Let's see what he's doing really well. He's actually somebody I'm very, very surprised. Cody Barrett, third fastest, 128.064.
Yeah, it's early days. Yeah, there's still good chunk of qualifying left. Another thing to note is I don't think any of our 2 championship contenders have actually set a lap yet. So I don't know what's happened to them, if they actually attempted, or if they just been pushing too hard in the off and taking the pain of an off track.
Kinzer right now, yep, he's still in the pits, and same with Brody Gardner. If the session were to end right now, Colin Kinzer would be starting in front of Brody Gardner. So, Colin Kinzer, I'm just saying, I'm a conspiracy theorist, let's just say that. Maybe they have a pack between each other. We're not going to run laps. We're going to start in the back of the pack. And we're going to just see what the outcome of this race is, and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously possible. I mean, a few people have done that this season. I rather wish they wouldn't, especially with a championship on the line, but they'll do what they want, I guess. I sound a bit grumpy there, but...
Let's go ahead. Let's get to Keegan Scott here, who's on a lap. He's actually just about to wrap up his lap. He has a purple sector. Can he move himself up a couple more positions? He crosses the line and moves up to 5th fastest, a 128.193. Now only a 10th off of Cody Barrett's pace.
Yeah, so it's getting pretty tight at the front there. I mean, it's Andrew's still leading the way with that first lap he did. It's not really picking up in the pace in terms of the track speed at the moment. So just it's all going to come down again to those final runs and who can really get the most out of the car. But we've got a very tight battle at the front. You know, Andrew, Frankie, David, Cody, Keegan. In fact, Frankie's just pipped Andrew there by 2/10. So Frankie Franchica is now our pole sitter. 8 minutes into the session.
127.736, 2/10 quicker than Andrew Surwick. David McCourt not out there. Let's go to Peyton Schofield as he is wrapping up his lap. He has 2 purple sectors, but he doesn't improve the time. He lost too much time in the middle sectors. So, and you don't want to be doing that. What he just did, getting over that curb, can get the car really out of shape, and it just bumps around, and it's hard to get back on the track without really messing up and scrubbing speed. Matthew Rice here tonight. He is currently 12th fastest. He's on an out lap. Dan Skilton is here tonight. Good to see him back after last week. Probably not one of his finer races, but he is happy to be here. It looks like Matt Carroll last week. Was it also here from last week is here. Something we want to point out from last week, of course, we saw Woody Mahan drop an opportunity to pick up a second place finish after he crashed on a caution lap. You can find that clip in our Discord. I went back and found it, sent it to him, said it also had to become on stream. It had to happen. So Woody Mahan moves himself, though, up in that 5th position, gets ahead of Keegan Scott with a 1:28.098. Now, something to point out again, Colin Kinser, Brody Gardner still haven't come out of the pit lane, but guess who has? Brock Whiteman. He's actually the only driver out there who hasn't put up a time. He's the I should say only driver out on track currently who doesn't have a valid time yet. Jacob Plemons, Deontre Young, Colin Kinser, Brody Gardner, all still in the pit lane. Looks like they may not be putting up a lap.
It's starting to feel that way 10 minutes into the session. But, you know, they might come out at the very end and go for a one-lap shootout. It's a very risky strategy. You know, off-tracks are very easy to pick up here in certain corners. So, watching here. Is this Brock? This is Brock Wyman, sorry.
Brock Whiteman, yep.
Yeah, it's looking like a good lap so far. He just needs to get a good exit out of this final corner, use all the runoff, which he has done, right up against the wall. See what kind of time he can put up.
And he goes third, a 1:28.004. That's a stonking lap.
It's a great lap, and he's probably going to go out there again and see if he can improve on that. But Andrew Serwick now trying to reclaim his pole position that Frank Chica took with his last run. So we'll see if Andrew can regain that. I think he's on his lap at the moment. It's looking good coming into the boot section. Oh, he's probably run a bit too wide there. He's probably going to have to... Yeah, he's already... Looks like he's abandoned this lap. Yep, well, he's definitely abandoned it now because he's off into the wall.
Well, that's what... Hey, let's watch the Roadmaster at work as he moves up into second place. I didn't even realize he was on a hot lap. He moves up to second with a 1:27.9, putting Andrew Serwick in third and Brock Whiteman down to fourth. So I will say this. When David McCourt comes, anything is possible for him, especially when it comes to road courses. This man can dominate on road courses.
Oh, it certainly can. We saw it in the past with what he did on road courses. He pretty much won out every week. So it's certainly going to be a factor today. We've got the main people who would challenge him, not even setting laps. So it certainly makes his job easier. But again, he's second to Frankie at the moment. So we'll see if he can get a final run in and try and usurp him. Is Keegan Scott on a lap at the moment, or is he?
Yes, he is. He is on a lap, so he's actually just now coming down the front straight, crosses the line. Does he improve? No, 1:31.9. Lost some time probably through the boot. It's easy to lose time through there after the bus stop. So, and it looks like he's going again. He has enough fuel to go again, so he's going to go. Brock Whiteman's on an out lap. Let's go to Peyton Schofield, who, again, consistent, has been always somebody who's been up at the front but doesn't have the results to show it.
Yes, it's generally has been one of these drivers who doesn't get the look. It's a bit like the Brock Whiteman situation on ovals, where you know he's qualifying and everything is always up the front, but then during the race, fortune does not favour him. Peyton now coming into the final turn to see if he can get off there perfectly. Again, he's done it absolutely right there, just right up against that wall.
And he moves up into fourth.
Yeah, great lap. It's probably his last run at this stage, unless he's going to go for a second lap. But as I said, the tyres generally do give up on that second lap. So if he makes an improvement, I'll be surprised, just from my old experiences with this car. But then I guess the tyre model and that might have changed since I did it last, which was a couple of seasons ago.
Brandon Welsh currently in ninth right now, as
staying there as well after that.
Yeah.
That's such a horrible corner. Just the transition back onto like the main off the boot is so it's incredibly slow, incredibly low grip, and it's spun into the wall. That's another thing that could happen on the first lap. Cold tires. We'll have to watch out for that.
Mm-hmm.
But just the transition to get back onto the other part of the track when you're anchoring off the boot is just so messy. But no matter what car you seem to drive, it's always horrible, like low gripping. Just like the wall on the outside just seems to drag you in.
Watching
But
Frankie Franchica now. He crosses line. Does he improve his time? No, he does not. David McCourt, can he grab that pole? He's crossed. Has he crossed already? He has. He does not get it, but I think he has enough time to go for another lap. So a lot of these guys are going to try and push here. David McCourt, he falls down to third because Andrew Surwick has taken it now with a 127.798. Has now gotten faster just by hundredths of a second now. And his qualifying is done. Peyton Schofield, can he get it? No, he moves up in the fourth of 127.970. And I think that's going to be it for qualifying unless Krauser has a lap here.
I believe John Krauser and Shady Amada are still on laps. Shady Amada's just crossing the line now. But I don't see any improvement, so he might have had an off track. So we'll just see what John Krauser can do here in the previous starting position.
Let's see where he goes, because there's, of course, a little bit of extra time, but because guys are still on laps, we got to make sure they get them done. Gets a little bit wide through turn 8. Now coming into the horrible grip of turn 9 and gets through there just fine. Now he's coming down in the turn 10 in that 502 car. Can he get it done? He's going to go ahead and get into the last turn looking good. Can he improve his position? He's currently 13th. And he does not improve. Yes, he does. A 128.172 puts him up into that 8th spot. Colin Kinser's out and he wrecks right away. But the man on the pole position is going to be the Frankie Franchica. And in that 96, a great lap from him. And it's time now, ladies and gentlemen, to get ready for 40 laps of action here at Watkins Glen. James, what predictions are you thinking of right now?
Well, as I said, because of the situation with the title rivals deciding to start at the back, I mean, you've got to look at David McCourt as a definite chance of winning, and Frankie Franchica has put it on pole, so anyone in the top 4 or 5 will fancy the chances here. It's a very much a track position circuit, so overtaking is possible, but you do really have to either have a massive advantage on the guy in front or just sort of force a move. We'll see what happens, but David McCourt is going to be my pick. I've seen him win far too many road races to look past him tonight, starting in P3.
And I agree with you. I think he's going to be the man to watch tonight. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for tonight's 40-lap race around Watkins Glen. On the pole is the number 96 of Frankie Franchica. In second place, the number 22 of Andrew Surwick. In third, the number 55 of David McCourt. In fourth, the number 17 of Peyton Schofield. And rounding out the top 5, the number 41 of Brock Whiteman.
And in P6, we have the 402 of Cody Barrett. And starting on row 4, in 7th position is the number 20 of Woody Mahan. I mean, as we saw at the end there, John Krauser starting in P8 in the 502 car. And in 9th, the guy who was pipped by John Krauser is Keegan Scott, starting 9th in the number 8. And in 10th is Brandon J. Welch in the number 11.
Outside of the top 10, it's going to be the number 10 of Dan Skilton. In 12th, the number 93 of Matthew Rice. In 13th, the number 111 of Alex Rose. And in 14th, the 35 of Matt Carroll. And in that 15th spot, the number 98 of Shady Ahmad.
And in the 16th spot is the number 5 of RJ Conley. And in 17th is Craig Bray in the 709. He's the final one to set a time. We have our champion-elect, Brody Gardner, in the 53, starting P18. Next to him is his title rival, Colin Kisner, in the 46 in P19. In 20th is the number 90 of Jacob Plemons.
And go ahead.
As I was saying, running out the grid in 21st is the number 2 of DeAndre Young. So 21 drivers, Adam, taking the track tonight at Watkins Glen. We'll see what happens in the next 40 laps. I'm sure it'll be actions packed, and we've got to watch obviously what Brody and Colin do from the back. They're certainly in the hornet's nest back there.
Yes, they do. Right now, Brody Gardner will not be the champion if he finishes where he is starting. Of course, Colin Kinser going to be starting behind Brody Gardner, but they're going to be lined up next to each other in 18th and 19th. So these two are going to go head to head here in this race, 40-lap race. It's going to be very, very interesting. Again, Brody Gardner has to finish 5th or higher to claim to claim the league championship. And if you're Colin Kinser, you have to win in order to stay in the championship.
He does need to win starting in P19. It's going to be very unlikely. But they've decided to do what they decided to do, and we're just going to have to see how it plays out. But at the front, Frankie Franchica, will he get off to a good start and maintain his pole position? Andrew Serwick will probably want to try and get a jump, maybe on lap 1 up to the run up to the bus stop, but that'll be a very dangerous move on lap 1. But he's certainly at a disadvantage, I think, sometimes being in first. It's a bit like Spa, because of the run and the draft up to the first sort of braking zone. It can put you in a bit of a situation where you maybe want to start second. But again, these are all things we're going to find out in the next few minutes, and just hope we get a good race.
I hope so too. I think it's going to be good. And of course, it's a wider track, but carnage can always ensue here at Watkins Glen. Last season's winner, Colin Kinser, starting in 18th. Brody Gardner in 19th. Those two should be flipped around. Our timing screen, it doesn't give us the starting grid. It gives us what's ever happening live. So let's get ready here as we are rounding around the lap of Watkins Glen here. The safety car about to come in, and we're going to get into this 40-lap race. So, of course, we don't have safety cars unless one is needed. We are seeing tire choices right now. Take a look there. There's the tire choices. Frankie Franchica on the alternates. Everybody, pretty much a majority of people choosing the primaries. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to go green here at Watkins Glen as Frankie Franchica waits for the green flag. And here we go down the front stretch into the turn number 1. Frankie Franchica getting a great start. And look at David McCork coming along with him. Here they go through turn number 1. David McCork side by side here with Andrew Serwick. Andrew Serwick's going to try and get a good run out of the corner. And here they go up through the hill, through the S's now. And everybody's starting to file in here as we're watching through the back of the pack. We're seeing a little bit of battle there with Keegan Scott. And Keegan Scott right now, we have a huge accident. And we're seeing so much carnage there. Who was that? It was Andrew Serwick. Cody Barrett was involved.
Got a caution. They've thrown a caution for this.
Oh, my.
We need to go back and see what happened there. But Brock Whiteman, again, seems to have been caught up in absolute... He just gets no look in the race, Brock doesn't. If it looks like he's out, if the timing screen's not playing funny buggers with us. But yeah, that's at least 3 or 4 cars probably involved in that. I didn't mention it before the start, but I'd say the S's was going to be the first big test in terms of where things can go wrong. It's very tight through there. But we'll have to see what happened there. But I assume, someone got turned around.
So I'm going to go ahead. I think we got the replay here. Let's take a look at the carnage that ensued up through the S's. You see Brock Whiteman there in the green and black 41. He's getting by Dave McCork. And oh my, Andrew Serwick just lost it on his own.
He did, and that, I think, probably threw Brock off, and he got unfortunately caught up in it. Then Matthew Rice came in at the end with Cody Barrett as well caught up. So
Andrew Serwick in the orange Gatorade car and just lost it. Got Brody Gardner and Cody Barrett involved. And Matthew Rice, I think, was involved as well. Matthew Rice is in the purple car. You see him go through. Just got a little bit off. Just coming through the S's and just lost it on his own. An absolute carnage Well, I
Yeah,
said
I
we
think
weren't going to have safety cars, and look at what happens in turn 3. Oh, man.
yeah. Well, it's definitely an incident that needed one. It looks like a lot of them could drive away, so they'll probably not lose a lap. But just obviously they've lost their advantage of being at the front.
Again, breaking down this accident. Look at Cody Barrett. He loses it through the S's on those cold tires, and there is nowhere for him to go except into the wall. And, of course, Andrew Serwick and Brock Whiteman in front of him as well. Just, it's an absolute carnage. Hey, that is not what you want to see on the opening lap, but we are under safety car conditions now here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, I do wonder with the strategy now. This helps like Frankie and Woody and stuff like that because the Reds will give you the advantage for about 3 or 4 laps. So this kind of helps them in that scenario. Gives them a bit more time, burn off a bit more fuel. I don't understand. I would never start on Reds with Watkins Glen because you kind of want to limit that stint to like the 10 laps that you'll probably do at the end. So running from the start on fuel, I don't think it really makes a lot of sense. But I guess he'll it could pay off in the end. But David McCourt right behind him in P2, so he's probably looking more likely for the win now after a few of his rivals were taken out in that start incident.
So Frankie Franchica holds on to the lead with David McCourt in second. Woody Mahan was able to drive through that carnage and move himself into a podium spot. John Krauser, 4th place with Keegan Scott in 5th. Dan Skilton in 6th. Matt Carroll in 7th. Brandon Welch in 8th. Alex Rose in 9th. Brody Gardner in 10th with Colin Kinzer in 11th. So those two moved up together 8 spots. RJ Conley in 12th. Craig Bray in 13th. Shady Ahmad 14th. Jacob Plemons in 15th. Peyton Schofield in 16th. Cody Barrett 17th. DeAndre Young will be a lap down in 18th. And Matthew Rice in 19th. And Surowick will fall down to the back of the pack after starting on the front row.
Yeah, I mean those 3 already a lap down, so it's gonna be a struggle for them to really make any mark on this race unless they get another yellow flag later and can get back on the lead lap. So it's unfortunate. I suppose speaking of Andrew, I mean, double champion. He's had an absolute horrible, wretched season by his standards, and I suppose I just want it to end. This has been a lot of mistakes and misfortune. I guess Brody Gardner and Colin will be happy with that start. They managed to avoid that carnage and both gained about 9-10 spots each. So a great start for them if they want to try and get back to the front. Lights are still on the pace car, so I think we'll have at least another lap at the moment. But I think Andrew may be totally out of this race. He's gone 2 laps down now.
He had the toe back. I know that.
Oh, he did have to tow. Sorry, I thought he was one that could drive away because I noticed a lot of them did manage to drive away with wobbly wheels. So
There he is.
yeah, it's him and Brock. Like I said, Brock's been so unlucky this season with getting involved in incidents that weren't his fault. I hope the time thing was playing. I thought Frankie had done a Woody Mayhan and crashed on the under safety car.
Now that would be a story.
That would, but let's tell you what, the leaderboard doesn't like after his heart attacks and change the narrative of the race on its own.
Well, part of it is that we only had it set. I only have it set to the top 20 because we only get about an average of 20 drivers a race. So set it to that. But tonight, 21 drivers here tonight. So we'll go ahead and give them a little love in the back. So, well, safety car lights are out. So we're going to go back green this time by. Which means we're on a single file restart, thankfully. things. Double file starts are, always very, very sketchy on road courses. Of course, you can, you're side by side for quite a bit of the time of the opening lap and just try to make up as much position as you can and just chilling. It looks like everybody in the back is starting to stack up. It's called single file, guys. You see it on top of your screen. Let's get in single file order, okay? This is elementary school all over again.
I guess some of them just want black flags.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, we had enough for that last week with some problems with black flags and post-race penalties.
Yep, and there has now been a new rule instated. You have to provide proof of why you needed the black flag removed, and if you don't provide that or if the proof is not sufficient, you get disqualified from the race now. But it's time to go back green. Safety car coming back into the pit lane. Yes, he does. That scared me. Everybody just still... Why are we double file?
He must be set up for that. That's the only thing I could think there. But Frankie Franchica gets away. He's got a good jump on David McCourt there. He holds on to P2 going into turn 1. But that's not the real problem. We've got going up to the S's now. Will people have learnt from the last time and not spin out? So getting... there's a lot of double file going in there, so hopefully we'll get through it this time. At the back, it's getting a bit tangled.
Still side by side, Jacob Clemens trying to make up his position. He's battling with Shady Ahmad, and Cody Barrett's back there. He's bringing up the train here. Colin Kinzer, he is trying to stay ahead of Brody Gardner, but he's not going to get it done. Gets a little bit of loose out of the bus stop chicane, and here they come down the hill into the boot now, and this is where things can get extra spicy because we didn't even get here on the first lap of the race. So looking here, Brody Gardner up to P5 already. He is a madman here, gaining positions. He is currently now in a championship winning position.
Yeah, what a restart by Brody Gardner there to get to P5. Colin Kisner back in P12, got a bit caught up there. He was very, very lucky with that bus stop. Nothing really happened because we were going too wide through there. That's always a bit of a dicey move, especially on cold tyres. But we've made it through a lap.
Frankie Franchica's had a crash. He is down to the back of the pack.
No.
Oh my. We'll have to look at that in just a little bit as we still have action still out on there on track. It's Peyton Schofield in front of Jacob Clemens now. This is for the 12th spot, and he's racing against Shady Ahmad. Here they come down the back straight. We'll keep an eye on our push to pass here. We'll bring that up here. Looks like Peyton Schofield and Brandon Welsh and now David McCourt using that push to pass, trying to get advantage. Oh, and somebody else has had it off. Who is that?
That's RJ Conley.
RJ Conley has gone off now again. Oh, he's having a season to forget as well. His nose is completely busted. He's going to have to get that car all the way back to pits now.
I don't know if it's accurate. Oh, no, it's not accurate. Damn you, scoreboard. I thought David and Keegan had gone off. Our two leaders. I suppose that's another thing to point out with Frankie's crash. Mr. Road Course, David McCourt now leading. 1.2 seconds ahead of Keegan in second. John Krauser in P3. He'll be happy with that, but he's got Brody Gardner right behind him. And you got to wonder how long it'll be until Brody gets on the back of his gearbox. And wow, what a restart this has been. Positions changing all over the place.
Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the Frankie Franchica crash here from the race lead. Coming through the bus stop. Oh, he just got the car just right over the curb, and he just went flying into the wall. And he is out of this race.
Yes.
Entirely.
That's cold tires. Yeah. That curb on cold tires is a bit of a deadly situation at times, and Frankie unfortunately found that out right there. David McCourt puts up the fastest lap of the race so far. But Keegan Scott has actually gained a bit of time since we were last on looking at this, because he was over it was 1.2 behind. Now he's less than a second, and he'll probably get a little bit of a tow up the hill, which will help him try and keep in within that second. But John Krauser's got Brody Gardner closing in now, and will John Krauser try and fight it as Brody really takes that curb.
Oh, and John Krauser, he just comes to the bus stop chicane so quick, and he isn't able to keep the grip down, and he slides. Luckily, it doesn't look like too much damage to that car. He's going to continue on. Brody Gardner, this is an absolute perfect situation for him now as he moves up in the third, and he is solidifying his championship now.
It really is, and I don't think he's had to make a single overtake so far. Everyone's just parting the Red Sea for him. Everyone's just crashing around him. It's looking very much like Brody's may settle it here. Colin Kisner's stuck back in 10th at the moment. He's behind Craig Bray and not really making any progress.
Colin Kinser's not going to be happy about this at all right now. He was last season's winner here on this track. He's got to put something together here again. Okay, it is early stages. We're only in lap 6 of 40, so he has to put in some effort if he wants to have a chance. He's got to hope Brody Gardner makes a mistake, gets some damage, and has to get put back to the back of the field.
Yeah, it's definitely requiring some kind of snookers now to get back in this, but it's like I said, he may be able to strategize his way to the front. We are in early stages of this race, only 7 laps of 40, so it's all to play for still. But he definitely needs to try and get some moves done early because it's just he's losing time to the front 3 or 4 as we've got Dan Skilton right on the back of Brandon J. Welch. I think he was looking for a move at the bus stop where he was backed out.
And that obviously ruined his momentum through the bus stop chicane because guess who's right on him? Matt Carroll, now only 3/10 off of the rear bumper of Dan Skilton now as they come through. Down into the boot they go. And this looks like he's able to pull away here just a little bit here. Of course, back behind those two, we have Alex Rose. He's actually going to lose a position. Peyton Schofield makes the inside move. And here they come through into the heel now. And the heel, again, low grip, got to keep the car steady. And he does that exact thing, gets over the curb. That is not an off track. That is still still on track. They don't consider that an off track, so won't have to give up the position. And now Colin Kinser, he's trying to get by Craig Bray, but Craig Bray putting up a great fight here in 9th.
Yep, he really is. But Colin needs to try and set up a pass for turn 1. Really, this is the thing. It's very much a momentum track. You mentioned with Dan Skilton before loses momentum in the bus stop, and that put him right on the back of Matt Carroll. If you're going to do a move, you really need to make sure it sticks because otherwise you do put yourself at risk of being overtaken. But Colin now was swarming all over the back of Craig Bray up the hill, heading down towards the bus stop. He may get a run here, but see which line he's going to force Craig onto the inside. I don't think he's going to get close enough. He's going to be very brave if he sticks this one.
Oh!
Right. Oh, what a move. And Craig is a very willing dance partner there because that could have ended badly. But Colin, with full commitment, he knew he had to get that move done. He's up to P9. And he's going to have to try to chase down Alex Rose now. He was over a second behind him after that. Craig Bray, meanwhile, is got John Krauser, who's trying to recover after his spin. There's Peyton Schofield and Matt Carroll of battling. There's battles all over the track here. It's hard to keep up with all the action.
It's very difficult to keep up what's happening right now. You kind of have to keep your eyes wide open as Peyton Schofield now moves himself up in the second by Matt Carroll. Now in the chase is on to Dan Skilton. Taking a look here, Brody Gardner, he's gotten closer to the back of Keegan Scott. Here they come through into the last turn of turn 11. And he's not using that push to pass just yet. Let's take a look here at the positions gained. Brody Gardner up 15 spots. What an absolute madman he is right now. That is the biggest gain we have seen in quite a while on a road course to go up 15 spots. And a lot of that due to carnage. So right now he is happy. I think he's happy where he's at, but I think he wants the race win and just say, you know what, I will take that championship. Thank you very much. We will move on and we will move. This is the second to last race. Next week will be our finale at Phoenix. So still a lot of positions up to gain still in the points. Looking here, we still have a battle for P3 in the championship. Brendan J. Welch and Andrew Serwick only 6 points apart as Andrew Serwick, he's going to get a DNF. He's not going to pick up any points here tonight. And then a battle for P5. Well, Woody Mahan's actually going to take P5 away from Jack Hedgecox as he is a no-show tonight. Charles Bertram not here. Cody Barrett might be able to gain. Yes, he will. They're tied on points with 201. That's going to be for 7th in the championship.
Indeed, there's plenty to play for throughout the field. And you mentioned Brody before. Like he probably won that race win. He's been slowly chipping away at Keegan Scott, but it's all right. It's all right getting up to the back of him, but getting a pass done is a whole different kettle of fish. You really need to, well, as we saw with Colin before, you really need to commit to it when you do decide you want to strike on the driver in front. We may see that now. Look how close he's getting up the hill. He's going to try and get a run at the bus stop. Is he going to take the outside line as well? We've got Keegan. Yeah, Keegan's taking the inside shallow line. It's going to, oh, Brody's got this done before the finish. I think maybe Keegan let him go. No, there's no point fighting that. Got David McCourt now is the only one stopping Brody from the win. I think David's also coming up on some lap traffic. I'm not sure who it is, but
It's RJ Conley.
it's RJ Conley, yep. So this is going to compromise him a little bit, potentially. Depends on how RJ Conley plays it. Obviously, the blue flags are not like F1 where it's mandatory to get out of the way, but look at that. RJ Conley gets out of the way for David McCourt easy there. I'm sure Brody and Keegan will follow through on the exit. Keegan probably got the worst of that. He had to compromise his exit out of the turn to be a bit tighter. But our front three now are at less than 1.2 seconds between them all. And another thing to note, we're probably getting close to pit stops for anyone who's on the reds if they haven't pitted already, because 10 laps is about where you need to think about pitting. You get about 14, 15 laps out with tank normally, so that's going to be our first thing. That'd be interesting to see what they take for the second stint. Will it be a short stint on the reds, or are they going to go for the second stint on the primaries?
Brandon Welsh falling down through the order here. He is pitting. He has damage.
Oh, who hit him going into the pits? I think it was Woody Mahan.
Yeah, that's Woody Mayhem right
Yeah.
behind him.
He's taking the cone.
He is taking the cone with him. He's like, you know what? If I have to pit, I'm taking something with me.
Well, yeah, you have to take a souvenir when you go into the pits. But I actually want to know what happened at the pit entrance there, because it looked like they hit each other. I don't know if whether Woody was trying to get round him or it decided late that he wanted to pit. He's keeping that cone with him, and that's one thing for sure. That's his now.
Oh,
He's playing for oh my word!
Oh,
that was a messy entry, but
very messy entry.
but you did get a prize. You know, everyone gets a prize here, and his prize is that cone. So, Brandon Welsh for the horrible snap into the S's there.
Cold tires. He's on the primes.
Yep. So it'll take about a lap to warm up there, but back at the front here, we've got our front three. Brody Gardner just 6/10 behind David McCourt, the 6/100. Sorry. And you just wonder, can David hold him off? You know, it's the old road pro against the new successor, you could say, at times on the road. So it's going to be a great battle between these two. Colin Kisner's got up to 6th now, just noticed in the background, but he's about 5-6 seconds back from this battle.
David McCourt, a 3-time champion here in the IndyCar iRacing League, won seasons 2, 3, and 5. And tonight we will hopefully crown a new champion here at Apollo Racing Club.
Yeah, it's certainly looking that way at the moment as these two battle away. Brody seems to be just slowly making his way up to the back of David's gearbox. He knows he doesn't need to push it too hard at this stage. Just needs to keep on him and see if he can force him into a mistake. As these two are now pulling away from the rest of the field. I mean, Keegan's dropped back 2 seconds already. Got Peyton another 3 seconds back. So again, this was over Colin being stuck at the moment behind Dan Skilton. It's just compromising his chances to get onto the back of this battle. But we are getting close to pit stops, and that can help him maybe if he if he chooses maybe to go on the reds and get a bit of an advantage in those early laps to get onto the back of the front battle. If he does get, he does get past like Dan, Peyton, and Keegan through the pit stop phase.
Colin Kinser now moving himself up in the 6. He's trying to get back and trying to just move up positions as much as he can. Again, this is kind of, you throw the you throw the chips up in the air and hope they land somewhere good for Colin Kinzer right now. And right now, they are not falling at all in his favor.
Definitely not, but he might have another run up the hill here. This has been a bit of a key move for both of our championship contenders. In fact, he may have got this move done earlier. I thought he'd tried to make a move in turn 1. I thought it could maybe compromised him, but he's got Danskirten cleared now, and now he needs to really get the hammer down and try and get up to the back of Peyton. But again, he'll probably be pitting in a lap or two unless he decides to save a bit of fuel. So
we have a change for the race lead. Brody Garner takes the lead of the race here with David McCourt in second. David McCourt trying to throw everything he has now. He's got to try and just make up that ground, but Brody Garner's on a whole other level tonight.
He is a man possessed, starting at the back to be in the lead after 13 laps. That's a hell of a performance so far. I mean, it's just now whether you can seal the deal, see out these remaining laps, and I'll tell you what, Colin won't want to see in that though, because he would have wanted maybe David and probably Keegan before that to hold him up a bit, so he didn't get a lead that. But he's absolutely hammer time, as they say, in these final few laps before he has to pit. So will anyone be able to stop Brody now? That's the question. And in the way he's driving and the way he's controlling the race early on, it's going to be a hard man to beat at this phase of the game.
Matt Carroll also battling here against Dan Skilton. Right on the back bumper as they go down into the bus stop. Chicane is not able to make the move. Dan Skilton lives another day. What's happened to Colin Kinzer? Oh no. And his day just gets worse.
Needs to watch coming back on the oh, well, yeah, that was unfortunate. I assume he must have caught too much curb without really seeing the replay, but I think he's did what Frankie did earlier, unfortunately, and he needs to watch out here because I don't think he's going to have much turning. Oof, DeAndre Young nearly goes into the back of him.
Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at Colin Kinzer's crash here. Coming down the back straight, or excuse me, I would say the middle straight, coming into the bus stop. Yep, took too much curb and into the wall he went. Hard impact into the wall. And that's pretty much it. I think he's thinking what what everybody else is thinking right now. His championship hopes are now completely, I would say, non-existent unless Brody Garner makes a mistake here with 25 laps to go. No, excuse me. 20, yeah. I can't do
it's
that.
25.
25,
It's
yeah.
25, yeah.
So I can do math.
Yeah, well done. You can do maths. You also get a cone for your evening's work. Everyone gets a cone. Yeah. I suppose the only saving grace for Colin there was that he did crash in a position where you would pit normally, so he's not now compromised where he has to make an extra stop. That's a bit of a small comfort when he's basically seeing his championship implode after taking a bit too much curb on the bus stop. Very unforgiving. But yeah, I mean, that's another thing now. Brody knows probably knows what's happened with Colin and knows he doesn't need to push too hard. So you mentioned him making a mistake. I think even if he drives at 90%, he'll probably be absolutely fine here tonight. He knows he needs to take zero risks now. He's got it in the bag if he just keep it pointing in the right direction.
You've seen that video of on ovals with a guy with, actually it was an IndyCar or Indy Lights race. I can't remember exactly. I don't think it was IndyCar, but he had a cone. He had the pit exit cone stuck on his hood, and he got close to somebody, and due to netcode, it hit the car. It like detached from the person's car, hit the other car, sent the other car into the wall, and then went back to the person it was on.
Yeah, that was very Mario Kartish. I do remember that video. I hope, luckily Woody Mahan didn't do that to anyone tonight when he had his cone.
So we're seeing pit stops now. John Krauser comes in the pit. He's going to put on the alternate tires. I think now is a good time to put on those alts. It's going to be a shorter stint, but then you go on the primes for the end.
Yeah, I mean, either way, like I said, I would never start the reds just because you can't change your fuel load to start with, so you might as well run the primes if they're far superior on a long run. Well, a few people didn't, but yeah, now getting to the point where you can either do another prime stint or take the reds. It's dealer's choice at this point, but you generally do only want to take the reds once and run them for about 10 laps. As Brody Gardner's probably going to pit this time. No, he's going again. Or is he pitted? I can't remember.
Skilton now into the pit lane as well.
Yeah, this. I don't. Oh yeah, I suppose it will go longer because I forgot about the safety car.
Yeah.
That's what's throwing me off.
Just need to add 3 laps.
17 laps. Yeah, they get 17 laps out of a tank. Also, yeah, because they had that the carnage start.
See where he goes. He
He
goes to the alternates. So that doesn't surprise me actually to see a lot of these guys who started on primes moving to the alternates. So Colin Kinser still in this race, but he's sitting in 16th position. He isn't a lap down. That's just the scoreboard being the scoreboard.
Yeah, like I say, at this stage, he needs a safety car to possibly get him back in to the battle. He's actually going to the pit lane again by the looks of it. So has he crashed again and towed, or what's happened here?
Who?
Colin is shown as being in the pit lane again.
I don't see a crash. Let's see. It doesn't look like any damage. Looks like he's just pitting to get tires. So kind of surprised by that, but I guess if you want to stay on your pit strategy, that's the way to do it. Now he has 2 pit stops in the books, though, and that's going to put him even farther back, as now Brody Gardner, just to add insult to injury, pits this time. And Colin Kinser can see that now, and he just knows in his heart of hearts that this is over. Nope, Colin Kinser, he says that's enough. That's going to be it. And that means at this point, Brody Gardner is the new champion-elect here at Apollo Racing Club, iRacing IndyCar League. And he is going to become the fourth different champion we have seen here in the iRacing League.
Yep. Well, certainly deserves it after the season is put together. So, congratulations to him if he does see it out tonight. It's unfortunate the way the battles ended here. It's sort of a repeat of last year where Charles had an incident and that ruined the battle on the final round was at Watkins Glen between him and Andrew. But I just don't. One of the things I say, I don't know why they started at the back. I don't really like people doing that when they're so much faster, because it's bad for the people who are sort of at the back pace, because braking zones and everything are different. But it's by the by. It's something maybe we need to raise in the off season about qualifying procedures. But yeah, Brody now he's going to lead after he's got a 4-second lead on David after the pit stop. So you just can't see him being beaten tonight. It's literally a case of whether he makes a mistake or not. But either way, it looks like he's going to be our champion in IRC IndyCar Season 7. So
Matt Carroll coming into the pit lane now. Cody Barrett, one of the very few battles, as we see a battle there in the background as well. Cody Barrett was in that initial lap 1 accident in the S's, and he is making a comeback here. Good comeback drive, but guess who's in front of him? Dan Skilton and Matt Carroll.
yeah, Matt Carroll's going to be a a massive disadvantage on this lap. He just came out just in front of Dan and Cody, so these two need to try and get a move done now before his tyres get warm. Should be noted, Matt did choose to take the primaries again for this stint. So that's another advantage that Dan's got him at these early phases. He really needs to use these tyres while he's got the advantage. There's a bit of smoke there since someone gone wide into turn 7. Who knows?
Shady
These three
Ahmad.
battling away. Shady Ahmad, okay. He's down in 15th at the moment, so is he almost a lap down to these people?
Nope. Shady Ahmad is actually just within a couple of seconds of everybody. Frankie Franchica able to make up the lap that he lost. So he's back on the lead lap. Same with Brock Whiteman. No, he's not.
But they probably haven't had to pit either because they filled up on the stop. Maybe got a few extra laps. But yeah, it's again unfortunate for Brock. Another night where he qualified so well, and misfortune in the race has basically put him onto a losing bet. Down in P17. Definitely not a position he deserves to be in based on his pace shown in qualifying and in practice. Cody Barrett now, like I said, he's making his way back up through the field, and he's going to look to the inside of Dan Scott into the bus stop, and he gets that move done quite easily. I think Dan backed out because he realised he probably wasn't wise to go too wide through there. So we'll see how far Cody can get up. Maybe he can get back towards the podium by the end of this. It's definitely not out of reach yet.
Woody Mayhem, Jacob Clemens battling here for the 12th spot. So they head into the boot. Cody Clemens on the inside. They're side by side. Now they're going to come into the toe. Is what you would call that. So
yeah, Jacob used the outside. The outside there is actually quite powerful if you really commit to it. It just sort of carries you around really well. So he's up to P12 now. Woody Mayan drops down to P13, but that battle might rage on for the rest of this race. We've got a few good battles going on throughout the field. Got Keegan Scott and Peyton Schofield closing on the back of David McCourt. At the front, Alex Rose, Craig Bray, John Krause having a great battle in for P9, P10, and P11. So it's a lot to play for still here for a lot of drivers. Plenty of action going on.
So at this point, everybody should have made a pit stop. Let's take a look here. Yes, everybody has made their mandatory pits. So now it's just a matter of getting to the end now as we hit lap 21 of 40. Have 20 to go.
We are at that halfway point. I mean, obviously that safety car's changed strategy. I mean, if you really want to, you can really limit how long you're on those reds to basically never get to the point where it gets painful. But again, there was mixed strategy calls on that second stop. So we'll see if it pays off for certain people. But Peyton Schofield really working on the back of Keegan now. He made a bit of a mistake, caught a bit of this grass going up towards the transition back to the main circuit off the boot section.
Peyton Schofield was 0.6 quicker than Keegan Scott on the previous lap in lap 20. So, and he was 0.5 quicker on this lap. So he is gaining time. And look at how close this battle is now for second.
I've got a three-car battle here. I mean, it looks like Peyton maybe has found a good groove and rhythm, and he needs to try and take advantage of this while he can. Keegan is saving grace up the hill. I see is David McCourt being so close behind, so Peyton is struggling to get enough of a toe advantage, if any toe advantage, to maybe get a move at the bus stop. But these three pulling each other around, but at the same time 7 seconds behind our current leader and possible champion by the end of tonight, Brody Gardner. So we'll see. This battle's going to see how this battle plays out. But again, it goes back to say if you're going to have to try and force a move by the looks of it, because these three seem very evenly matched. So find finding an actual chance to overtake is going to be a premium, and you're really going to have to commit to any moves if you do get that chance.
Brody Gardner, really the driver of the season. Showed just he came here. He was here for the last few races of last season, if I remember correctly, and he has absolutely driven the lights out this season. Honestly, very good for him. He's just got to keep it straight and going, and he's going to claim a championship. And he is. I can't wait for that post race interview with him.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, he's been an absolutely superb driver all season. I think he did start like end of last season. I can't fully remember, but this is definitely his first full-time season, and what a competitor he's been. Has really taken the field to task this season. That's speaking of taking to task, Peyton's really struggling to get around Keegan. These three are just all over each other at the moment, but no one can really make any headway. It's great for David as well. I mean, like I say, he was such a big part of the early era of ALC IndyCar. Like I said, 3-time champion. He was the road course specialist. P2 today. Be happy with that, I'm sure, if it remains that way. But he's trying to hold off Keegan and Peyton. Peyton goes very wide there. That probably cost him a little bit. But
They're just staying together.
Yeah, they're just so in with action. Like I say, it's such a difficult track to find a good opportunity to overtake. There's no super long straights you can use to your advantage. You really just need to capitalize on any small mistake that they may make. So it's sort of being ready. You know, you need to be the shark circling, waiting for the blood to drop, and then make that move.
Schofield using that push to pass now. Those are the numbers that you see there right next to the drivers' names, and you see Schofield's go red, so he's using it right now. He's side by side. Keegan, David McCourt bumped together through the chicane. David McCourt, he's going to fight through this, and he's going to keep the second position. Keegan Scott trying to just stay in there. David McCourt wasn't going to give him an inch. Now Peyton Schofield down the inside. Into the chute they go. And now Peyton Schofield now is going to claim that third spot and get onto the podium.
Yeah, what a sequence there. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't all end up in the barrier through the bus stop, but they've managed to keep it together, and Peyton has managed to use that situation to get around Keegan Scott, and he's in P3, but it's giving David McCourt a bit of breathing room at the moment. But will these two catch back up to him? Peyton gets very squarely out of that corner. Well, I'm not sure. I don't think Keegan will be very happy losing that position like that. But again, like I said, you have to be ready for those moments, and Peyton was certainly ready for his opportunity, and he took it well. And he's now sat at the podium. So, what a race these three are having. I don't think it's over yet. Certainly not, Adam. What do you think?
You know, this has been a very clean battle. I think that, David McCourt is somebody who will not give an inch. He's a smart, intelligent driver. I don't think he even made a mistake there. I think he was just, he was going to allow Keegan through, but he saw an opportunity. He went for it and kept the position. And Keegan got a little bit too aggressive, I thought, especially into the chicane. It's hard to pass in the chicane as it is, and you have to nail it just right and get onto the proper line. So Keegan Scott really paying the price for that little bit of an incident there with David McCourt. One thing I want to mention, we do have a crash currently being reported by Craig Bray and Jacob Plemons. So let's take a look here and see what happened here with these two. Coming down through the S's and to the back straight. Oh, and just left hook him, and then also collecting.
Oh, upside down.
Oh, that is a... Oh, okay.
I suppose that would throw a caution for... Oh, my word, that's about 5 cars involved. I'm surprised there isn't a yellow flag, given how many cars were involved.
Shady Ahmad involved in that. Again, let's watch that here.
It just seemed to escalate. It's...
Oh, Jacob Plemons just... Oh.
Well, he was upside down. He's still going, so he'll probably be happy with that. in the given circumstances.
Watching that replay one more time, and just he got air upside down, and
Alex Rose, the unfortunate victim there.
ay ay ay. That
We
was
continue.
bananas.
When he said there was an accident, I didn't think it would escalate like that, but it did.
It went from 0 to 100.
You said 2 cars, and it ended up being like half the field.
All my system reported was 2. Now Peyton Schofield challenging David McCourt through the chute. He's on the outside. He's not going to have a whole lot of grip there, but he maintains it. He's on the outside, gets off the corner very nicely. Now through the toe they go.
Peyton, what a stint by Peyton. It's at P2, but again, these three will probably still be battling to the end. It's not over yet. David McCourt already looking for a move back. Is he maybe thinking down? Oh, no, he backed out there. You have to be very brave to try and make a move at that very short braking zone. But so Peyton Schofield is now leading the 3-car battle. Further back, we've got Cody Barrett and battling with Matt Carroll. This one's been going on for a while. Cody obviously caught up in that lap 1 incident, has been working his way back up through the field since then. He's back into P7 at the moment, so that's a good recovery given this how his race began. But Matt Carroll is having a good race as well. He's had a very mixed start to his ARC career with a terrible Laguna Seca debut, and I think was he one of the cars disqualified unfortunately at Homestead?
Yeah, let me look. No, that was Thornton and Frankie.
All right, sorry. Well, he was disqualified according to me, and I decided to change the rules. But yeah, Matt Carroll P5 at the moment, and Cody right behind him. DeAndre Young P7, but he's about 20 seconds back from this battle. So I think it's the lap car of Brock Whiteman behind these two, if I'm right.
Yep, Brock Whiteman's there.
Yeah, he's back up to P13, but again, he had the pace to be right at the front there, but unfortunately he was another victim of the lap 1 incident and got the worst of it, having to tow back to the pits and losing 2 laps off the bat. It's certainly a long way to recover from there. But,
something
again, as we're saying, sorry.
Pit stops are starting to happen now. So if anybody hasn't gone on the alts yet, they'll have to go now, and having your race end here on the softer tire, not probably the preferred tire, but definitely a faster tire. We'll see how these battles rage out here as Peyton Schofield still trying to drive away from David McCourt for second place. David McCourt only half a second behind. David McCourt having 6 push the pass left. Peyton Schofield using his. Cody Barrett's using his. He has an overtaking opportunity now.
Yeah, he's obviously thinking maybe he can get it at the end here. He's going to get right at the back of the gearbox through the S's, and we'll see if Matt forces him on the outside, which he has done. But we've seen this many times today, and the outside has definitely worked. Cody looks like he's got that move done way before the braking zone. Matt just tucked in behind him. So Cody Barrett has worked his way back up to 5th now. Maybe he can get onto the back of this podium battle. If these three keep holding each other up, it's not unthinkable. 7 seconds. He's got 12 laps to work with and a pit stop. But what a recovery by Cody after, again, he was caught up in that lap 1 incident with already Andrew Serwick, Cody, as I mentioned, Brock Whiteman, and can't remember who the other person was. Sorry, Matthew Rice. Sorry, but yeah, wow. David McCourt is trying to keep on the back of Peyton, and Keegan Scott's dropped back a bit just in the last couple of laps. So maybe he picked up a bit of damage for that incident earlier. Just a slight touch, maybe. Cody Barrett's decided to pit by the looks of it now.
Ooh.
Hopefully that's... Oh, what a big slide there out of the corner by David. It's what you mentioned before. You catch too much of that curb, it can certainly throw you into that barrier on the inside there, but he managed to keep it together. And he's probably going to be able to hold off Keegan. This is what I say. If Keegan had been a bit closer, that's one of these situations where you need to be ready for those mistakes that people make. Because if he was within half a second, he would have probably had a good shot to get around him up the run there to the bus stop. But as it stands, David McCourt holds on to P3 after his slide, but he's dropped back a bit on Peyton. And maybe he's back into the strike zone of Keegan. But we are getting close to the pit stops, as you mentioned, so we'll see when these three come in. See if he can use a bit of strategy to get back up to the P2 position. We should mention again, Brody Gardner, P1, started at the back. He's probably going to be our champion at the end of this, and he's got a 14-second lead now. He's just having a Thursday night cruise in upstate New York, which is, I'm sure, something we all dream of.
Have you ever been to New York, sir?
I have, yes. When I went on my American tour in the summer, I started in New York. But I did lose a day because of an Esther issue, but that's a whole other issue and a $2,000 bill. But hey, I didn't pay the bills. It was on the company card.
There we go. Yeah.
But I did lose a day in New York, which is a bit sad. I did go to Times Square. I literally landed, got to my hotel, and just ran out and did as much New York as possible from 11 o'clock at night. Good times.
New York City, too busy for my taste. Too many people. Not.
It felt a bit like London, where I do enjoy a day there, but I would certainly never want to work there, live there, or spend more than a few days.
There you go.
Yeah.
I spent 3 days. I was ready to go home in 2. So I'm from a town of 80,000 people. So
God, culture shock.
Going from a town of 80,000 to one of the largest cities in the United States, definitely a shock in my world. I've been to big cities, been to Minneapolis, Denver, Orlando, Los Angeles, or San Diego, Seattle. I've been into major cities, even Atlanta. I liked Atlanta more than I liked New York City, and that's saying something. If you've been to Atlanta,
I've not been.
and great place. Awesome. People are awesome down there. They're very, very nice. They give you that southern hospitality. Keegan Scott now happens second in here with David McCourt. As again, we're getting ready. These guys still need to pit. None of them started on the alts. So they're all needing to go to the alternate tire.
Yeah, well, which is good for us because you want them all to be battling on the same tyre at the end. Keegan Scott used every inch of the turn 1 exit there. Probably took an off track, but that's the thing. If we do have an instant limit, but if you do have a few, if you can use them strategically, you can get about 2/10 going up the hill if you run wide and take the off track. Obviously, it doesn't help you in qualifying, but in the race, if you've got something to play with, you can help him, and he's helping him keep on the back of David McCourt now, who's falling a bit back from Peyton, who's had an absolutely stunning second stint to get himself into P2. But David McCourt and Keegan Scott have been basically battling most of the race for various podium positions or trying to get onto the podium. I'd love if David did get the podium because I'd like to speak to him on his return here to the Indy ARCC.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't finish the sentence there, so I gave up.
Let's take a look.
But I want to speak to him, basically. That's what I was trying to say.
There you go. A couple of crashes coming through here. Let's take a look.
How many cars this time?
Looks like we have Shady Ahmad here. What has happened to Shady Ahmad? Oh, yep. Gus Scott put too much throttle down. That's a very common crash you see there, especially in turn 9. There's just no grip up there, and he's trying to get her spun around. And then John Krauser.
I've done that many a time.
Yeah,
I sympathize with him.
Did that in the 6 hours of Watkins Glen. And Woody Man and Cricket Sushi get together. Oh,
Straight up murder that was. I wonder if DeAndre Young got a piece of that. He came flying through at the end there.
I want to see that one more time from Woody Mahan's perspective, if I can get there in time.
No, that was...
I want to back that up just a little bit because we got some time here.
Yeah.
Coming up the hill, tries to make a move inside. Cricket squeezes and gets left hooked, and
That's the problem with it. 9 times out of 10, you try and move there, that's what happens. It's not an overtaking space. It's more of you kind of have to hold off the throttle sometimes and then do what a lot of people have done and try and get the move at the bus stop.
so I think David McCourt heard you because now he's in fifth. Apparently, David McCourt doesn't want to talk to you.
I think he pitted. I hope he did. Maybe he pitted out of spite, and yeah, he didn't want to speak to us. Me specifically. Why would he do this to me?
Oh, he did stop. He did stop. Okay, good. I was like, what happened?
This might pay off for him. Peyton's gone in, so. And another thing with David was he was always very good on the outlaps. That's why he was always so strong on the road courses, because he used to like extract so much like time out of the tire on that opening lap when you're fighting the cold tires. But Peyton's gone in. I think David McCourt is not caught him, but Keegan stayed out an extra lap. Now is that going to put paid to him a little bit? But again, I suppose with 6 or 7 laps left, you can use the reds to the fullest. It's sort of like lap 9, 10 when they really go off. But this again, it hopefully makes the battle at the end here between David, Peyton, and Keegan very exciting.
Cody Barrett has gotten by Matt Carroll, and now he's chasing down Brandon Welsh. Brandon Welsh, I would have thought at the beginning of the season we would be talking about him as a championship contender, as he won the first race of the season.
He did. He did win the first race, yeah. Although you could argue that it did kind of help that most of the front of the grid was taken out, but that's kind of disrespected him for winning because he got the job done. But there is circumstances where you could say, well, he kind of played a bit of a favour to him there with taking out half the competition in turn 1.
I also want to point out Peyton Schofield. He's in front of David McCourt. And he's hitting.
Has he got a drive-through? That must be the only reason. Because he pitted the lap before.
No, he's actually in. He is actually pitting in.
Oh.
I think, yeah, he's turning towards his pit stall, it looks like.
Did he not forget to put the fuel in, or is he not changed? Oh, it's tyres. I think he's probably got the wrong tyres on.
Yep.
He's got blacks on again. He needed reds, so
again that could be a visual
there with a tire roll. Well, that's true. Yeah, this game does like to throw bugs and basically make me looking forward with changing the leaderboard and making it look like people on tires they aren't on, and just general
nonsense.
Yeah, thank you, general nonsense. Yes, let's use that. So. Mentioning Cody Barrett was on the back of Brandon J. Welsh. He's got round him now, so he's up into P4. And again, is the podium on for him? He's only 4 seconds back.
That's going to be a tall order now. 6 laps to go. He's got to be putting in at least a half a second in a lap if he wants to have a chance.
True. Well, you have to dream. Why did you destroy my dream, Adam? Why can't I be a dreamer? It's New York. It's the magical place. Oh, that's Toys R Us.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. New York is where your dreams can live or die. And most of the time, they're going to die in New York. So Matt Carroll, he is right on the bumper here of Brandon Welsh. And Brock Whiteman, he's sitting there patiently waiting for something to happen between these two. Again, he's not even in the running here. He is far, far back down the order. He's 10th. He's in the top 10.
I mean, yeah, his recovery's been all right. He's got back into the top 10. But again, like I said, when you look at his pace and where he qualified, it's another bad night for him, unfortunately. And it's, again, just being caught up in the wrong place, wrong time. I suppose at the moment, he probably can get around these two on pace, but it's not going to help him. He's not going to gain positions, and he just kind of needs to not get involved into anything silly, and just sort of let Matt and Brandon J. Welsh sort this out between them. But it looks like Matt may have pulled away a bit from Brandon now. So this is our closest battle on track at the moment for P5. So we're winding down now, Adam. I mean, it's been a bit of a crazy night. There's been some heartbreak for some of our drivers. But how do you feel the race has been so far in the final few laps? And
You know, besides that lap 1 and obviously that crazy crash with Craig Bray and everybody, and it seemed like everybody else. Overall, tonight's been very good. For sure, you know, everybody still racing for standings points. You know, even though Brody Gardner will be the championship winner, you know, there's still points up for grabs. Colin Kinser will solidify that second place. He's not going to drop too many points unless Brandon Welsh pulls in a haul because of Colin Kinser's DNF. And then the battle for second is on as we go into the final race week next week at Phoenix. And Matt Carroll is, you know, somebody as well. You know, we've seen some new guys who have come through the league in just the last few weeks, and I'm very, very hopeful that when we go in the next season, we'll still have a very tight championship battle for next season. I think we have two really strong drivers in Colin Kinser and Brody Gardner. It won't surprise me one bit if we see them back battling against each other next season, and hopefully we get some more names into the mix. And everything, this league has become very, very much more competitive in terms of how everybody's racing, because it's no longer that you can dominate on the road courses and just get top fives at ovals. You have to be so good and so competitive at both of them now, and that just makes this league very, very strong in the future. And this season in particular, we've seen it, and that if you're not good on both road courses and the ovals, as we now see Matt Carroll, he's side by side. Here they come down the back straight. Here comes Matt Carroll. He's wanting to gain some positions and show, hey, I maybe knew I might not be in a championship title fight here, but he does not care. He gets the position away from Cody Barrett. He moves up in the fourth.
It does indeed. These two battling away in the final lap. So I have one other question for you. What's your opinion on people not qualifying on road courses?
You know, to me, I think it's fine. I'm one of those people. I love mixed up grids because I think for a lot of guys who don't get to start up front and get a chance to start up front, they get to show that they can race. Unfortunate for Frankie Franchica tonight, going off in the chicane and basically saying goodnight to his race. I think he would have I think he would have been battling for the win, or at least been